Hello, my friends, relatives, esteemed colleagues. My friend Tone asked me to address a little bit water retention a little bit more in detail because many people she is helping are easily spooked by the thought about water retention, fluid retention in the body, and the bullshit science we are being told about why the water retention in a body occurs. Now, why it's a bullshit? Because purposely we are being misled through science, so-called science. Follow the science. Follow the false stuff, science, the Mr. Fauci, and other evil and schmucks like he is. Wherever you look in a medical book, medical journal, movies that have this topic, any scientific article, water retention is always blamed on too much salt, sometimes bad blood circulation, never pointing to the right thing. Now, if we talk about retaining water, again, forget about chemistry, biochemistry, this is all crap. We have to go back into physics. Unfortunately, I'm not expert in physics. Well, I'm not expert in basically anything. I'm just engaging my mind in trying to understand this reality of ours and the truth. So let's skip the body for a second and let's look to the nature. I always point nature, observe the nature, and then try to apply what you experience from a nature in a body. What is water retention? Retention, retaining, holding. What holds water in nature? Let's take soil as an example. When you have a sand and you put water there, water goes through. There is no water retention. You take a mud, it stays there. Why it doesn't go through? Because mud retains water. When it retains it, it doesn't let it pass through. It holds it. Now, what is the difference between mud and sand? Size of the grain. Larger grain makes larger spaces in between. Smaller grain is more compact. So what do we learn? that in more compact place, water is becoming trapped. Now let's check this robot. Where do we see water retention? Mostly in peripheral tissue. Now, what is characteristic for peripheral tissue? It has smaller and smaller blood vessels. It doesn't even have blood vessels anymore. It goes into capillary system. What is going to retain water in the body? Capillary system. When capillaries get squeezed and their volume becomes so small, the water cannot pass through. It gets trapped. Now, what makes capillaries to squeeze? Well, one thing is dehydration, because then everything diminishes, the cells get smaller, the tissue shrinks. We see it on the skin. We see creases, wrinkles on the skin. And now we have experts. Collagen, oh, we don't make enough collagen, collagen. It's dehydration. And as things squeeze, capillaries get smaller. They start holding water. Water doesn't go through. It's getting trapped. And now when you start loading the body with more water, well, it doesn't go through these things. And it becomes trapped in the tissue, especially the peripheral tissue, where the capillaries are small. Physics, pure physics. Forget about hormones. Forget about vitamins. Pure physics. We have to understand the body. And as we get to understand the body, we start understanding the nature. Or the other way around. When you cannot understand something in a body, look in nature. Forget about books. Forget about he said, she said. They're just parrots repeating bullshit stories. So, more toxic we get, the more dehydrated on cellular level we get, and peripheral circulation is going to suffer first. And then you have water retention. Has nothing to do with amount of salt. Actually, people with water retention usually do not consume enough salt. And this is why they get into the dehydration state. Now we are being told, no, distilled water. Distilled water is much better. First, you don't pollute yourself with the salts. Second, higher absorption rate. Well, this is where the problem is. Again, Don't listen to me. Make your own experiment. You want to see how good is distilled water? So take a bottle, a liter of distilled water, and go jogging. And as you are jogging and you are thirsty, gulp and drink distilled water. And you will see you start sweating like a pig, and all of a sudden you lose energy. You just can't run anymore. Because you lose minerals. And when you lose minerals, you are losing electric conductivity. And electricity is your energy. Simple as that. Remember, everything we are told through science, this is not a science. This is manipulated script by those whose interest is to control us and keeping us on a leash through fear. And what brings more fear than anything else is disease and death. This is why we have a science that indoctrinates us into misleading conclusions. And what happens? We have a group of experts we call doctors who, instead of healing, which we expect from them, are actually poisoning us, not even having a slightest clue that this is what they have been indoctrinated into. Again, there was no other time on this planet than this is so visible as it is now with these pandemics. Not only this one, previous ones, but now this is becoming so obvious that it hurts the eyes. And many doctors still cannot see it. This is how brainwashed we are. Now, everybody who is trying to find any answer to their problem, going through medical books or the videos that parrots are shooting all over the place, this is all based on the same lies. And when you hear life from A to Z, you start believing it. Why? Because everybody reads the same script. You can see it in media. Every channel tells you the same script, even using the same freaking words. Well, if this doesn't wake you up, then nothing will. The more I'm realizing what is going on, the easier it is for me to talk about it. And also, it takes away the feeling of maybe being wrong. No matter how wrong I may be, it is going to be, in a worst case, just a fraction of the lies that we have accepted. So, to me, it doesn't really matter. This is how I search for truth, ignoring anything that anybody can say, observing, and then relaying what I see, relaying to the body, and see how can this be in a body. Now there is a problem. Some people do retain water, and then it can be problematic, especially, here it is. Plasma. Especially if the water is being retained in lungs, because it makes difficulty breathing. Why? Because capillaries are saturated, dense. Even gases cannot be exchanged properly. Now, what happens in the body when it retains water? Well, reaction to the toxic material is always, I point to this, that the cellular membrane becomes denser. If cellular membrane becomes denser, it starts retaining water. When it retains the water, doesn't let it go through. It is same like mud. When that happens in the intestines, then water cannot be absorbed and we get diarrhea. Now, what could cause this? Well, toxicity. It's natural reaction of the body to make the membrane denser when it is exposed to toxic elements. So it does not absorb them. Physics. Forget about hormones, forget about chemistry. So, whenever water retention happens, it is not because you are too salty. It is because you are toxic. And you are toxic because you cannot detoxify. And why can't you detoxify? Because you don't have enough water. Because you gotta cleanse the toxins out with water. Now, why don't you have enough water? Because body does not hold water. Water does not conduct electricity. Only plasma does. And water, to become plasma, to become electroconductive, has to be in ionic state, which means it needs minerals. Now, if you don't take enough minerals, then the body is going to try to hold on any kind of a mineral there is. And this is why we are being poisoned with table salt. Now how? Because it has been demineralized. So we are being given mostly sodium chloride. Now, yes, we need it. We need sodium and we need chlorine in a body. So you get what you need, but the body holds too much of it when other minerals are missing because it needs the ionic state. And actually, you will decrease the amount of sodium chloride in your body by giving it the correct salt. The not iodized and not bleached or refined sea salt. because it has 80 different minerals or more. So this way the body holds minerals and eliminates surplus. So eliminates surplus of sodium chloride and other stuff that it doesn't need, and holds what it needs. But it cannot do it unless you provide the other stuff. If you have in a refrigerator only turkey, well, this is the only thing you can eat, and you will load up on it. If you have other stuff, then you take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and you have variety. Well, same as, you still need food. Well, same as with salt. And it has been proven that using a sea salt or drinking seawater will reduce sodium content in a body. It's been proven. But it's not, this knowledge is not being distributed. What is being distributed is a fear. Never touch seawater, you die. And on the other side, if you drink plain water. And then we have the other experts. No, plain water is not good enough. You need to drink distilled water. Distilled water and urine are same. Only moron comes with such idea. Complete moron. And unfortunately, internet is full of them. And not only internet. Cathedra, professors. Because all they know is to read a script. They do not observe. They only trust what they have been told. Robots. You can, if you drink 3 or 4 liters of distilled water a day, you are going to put your life in jeopardy. Because, not because you are drinking too much water, but because you are demineralizing yourself. Your body cannot align proper conductivity. Because demineralized water is coming in, body has to get it out to level it to the mineral content, and in the meantime, in a process, it is losing more minerals. And taking 3 or 4 liters of distilled water daily, it is going to put your life in jeopardy very quickly. On the other side, you can take sea plasma, water with sea salt, and doesn't matter what amount of sea salt you have in it, as long as it's in a water, diluted. You can have 20 liters of it a day. And you will have diarrhea, you will be cleansing, and you will feel better and better every day. Because you are maintaining proper conductivity, proper plasma in your body, high levels, and as your cleansing organs are eliminating surplus of the minerals, they eliminate garbage from your blood, making you cleaner. Well, this is something that majority of people do not want to understand because they are too much in fear of salt. too much, especially our experts. And as I say, the first thing when I mentioned to somebody, well, you gotta drink water with salt, sea salt, the reaction is, oh, Darko, but I'm hypertensive. My blood pressure is too high. Well, what makes high blood pressure? Definitely not too much blood. Because actually the most dehydrated people have the highest blood pressure. Every old being, human being, because of the toxicity, is extremely dehydrated. And blood pressure could be through the roof. So it is not the water, it is not the salt. What is it? Well, anything but what we have been told. I have a dear friend who is suffering now. Young guy. Not 30 yet. Pressure to the roof. And to the roof, I mean to the roof. It's 100 over 190. Or 190 over 100, whatever you want to say. Well, it's extremely high. Is it because he has too much water and salt in the body? Nonsense. There are too many parameters to consider. But it always comes to the same thing. It's a blood toxicity. Remember, body is electromagnetic. Body is electronic robot that is being controlled by sensors and switches that do the alignments. And why would one have high blood pressure? Well, could be problem with blood vessels. The arteries are not flexible. What could cause this? Dehydration, or also always keep on your mind that the mind can accept any frequency your brain can produce. And the brain can produce any frequency there is, any frequency it is familiar with. So it can constrict the blood vessels simply by choosing this frequency. It's your mind, your fear. Everything is manifestation. After making a video about the immunity, one friend asked, well, it seems everything is a lie. Is the DNA real? Well, again, yes and no. Because base of our reality is a quantum field. And quantum field is field of conscious energy in variety of frequencies, which are then processed by the brain through installed programs, installed and accepted programs. And then your consciousness of your physicality, your ego, your spirit, decides or chooses what manifestation to accept. And this, my friends, changes the whole concept of our reality, our science, and our understanding. Since our reality comes in pixels, in frames, every image could be different reality. And the reality chosen is the one that your ego, your spirit, figures out to be the most truthful. It makes the most sense. It makes most sense to your ego. So more false programming you get, the opinion shifts. And you use your mind to choose which reality works for you. 1 second, you can be sick with cancer, have brown eyes, and being bald, and next second you can have blue eyes, full head of hair, and free of cancer. And there are some true dual personality individuals which in one personality they have certain color of eyes and are sick, and when they shift the personality, the color of the eyes changes and they are healthy. And shift is instant. Now, this stuff used to be published, but now it's out of view. Right. Why? Because the intention is to keep us stupid. Well, we are awakening. Don't be afraid of sea salt. Be afraid of any packaged product that comes from a factory, especially if it has a lot of ingredients in there telling you how good this is for you. Well, you can buy a great quality salt. But again, here is misconception. I've seen packages, people send me, oh, doctor, is this salt good? Look, read. And it only says pure sea salt, 90% sodium chloride. It's idiotic statement. Why? Because the people working there doing this stuff, they have no education, they have no clue, and they just pick up, oh, sodium chloride, this is the stuff that is salt. Okay, this is pure salt, so it's pure sodium chloride. So, trusting labels, yeah, but definitely we cannot trust the science that is pushed on us. And a lot of righteous people, they are searching, and they are reading everything on the internet, and mostly vegans and vegetarians, wow, they are in this, they are full of science. Well, they're also full of diseases. Don't trust the science that is being preached. Don't trust religion that is being preached. Observe. Observe and think. We have to drink plasma to have conductive bodies to electricity, because this is our energy. And what is water? Water actually is the easiest or closest representation of conscious energy. As we understand, conscious energy is vibration. If you are one of the vibrating points and you have your electromagnetism, as you move through this conscious energy, you are leaving imprints. You take anything. Take a rose, because you can see this actually if you go into some pictures left behind by Masaru Emoto. You put rose in a water and then flash freeze the water, slice it, and look into miniature piece of water, and you will see image of rose in it. Electromagnetic field leaves imprint, and water can easily be electromagnetically arranged, because nothing is based on atoms, as we are being told. Hydrogen, oxygen. Everything is based on sacred geometry. And you get imprint of the sacred geometry there, and the properties of the water will change. So it's under influence of your electromagnetic radiation from the brain we call thoughts. And you can change the sacred geometry of the water, and by it you change the characteristics of it. This is all new science, all new understanding. And we have to embrace it. Otherwise, we will be stuck in mind of a slave. Don't be afraid of water. Don't be afraid of sea salt. Do some more research. Read my articles. Why my articles? Well, you don't have to read my articles. There are many other people talking about these things. But again, here I'm disclosing everything I learn to benefit anybody else who is interested. And you can take it from here and go further. Let's get together in this research. But stop referring to the past science. What comes from past times, it's all manipulated. You have to ignore it. Start fresh. Start fresh from now. Observe and implement. Thank you for being here. Till next time, love you all.